In this video, I've compiled all of my Demon Slayer what-ifs into one full video. No outros, just straight content. You'll know when a new scenario starts if it says "what if" at the beginning. Feel free to relax, fall asleep to it, or just have it playing while gaming or chilling. Hope you guys enjoy the video! What if Nezuko joined Muzan? I've done a ton of research, and this is the best timeline I could come up with. Everything happens the same. Tanjiro leaves to go sell coal, and his whole family stays behind. That night, they get attacked by Muzan. But this time, Muzan doesn't leave. Because he hears a faint heartbeat, Muzan decides to stay. He injects his blood into Nezuko, turning her into a demon right then and there. She begins rampaging wildly, fully embracing her new demonic nature. After Nezuko finishes her rampage, Muzan approaches her and asks, "Where is the blue spider lily?" Nezuko kneels before him and replies, "I don't know, Lord Muzan." At first, Muzan is calm, but then he searches through Nezuko's memories. In them, he sees a vision from her childhood. Nezuko's mother once brought her to a field of blue spider lilies. Muzan's eyes widen. He realizes he was this close to the one thing he searched for all his life, and he missed it. Filled with rage, he screams in fury, knowing he was once just inches away from the key to walking in the sun. Now Muzan takes her to the Infinity Castle, feeds her a bunch of humans, injects more blood into her, and then sends her out on her own, where she starts eating a bunch of humans. Then we cut back to Tanjiro, burying his family, and wondering why Nezuko isn't there. He still holds on to hope that she's out there. Giyu arrives and tells him to train with Urokodaki and master water breathing. Tanjiro goes through everything he did in the original timeline, but this time without Nezuko. The only major difference comes during his fight with Rui. He doesn't have enough power to truly fight him, and ends up on the brink of death until Giyu shows up and saves him. Now we cut back to Nezuko, and in this timeline, she has become Lower Moon 1. In the original timeline, after Rui died, Muzan killed all the Lower Moons, but this time, since Nezuko is one of them, he doesn't do that. Then we come back to Tanjiro. This is around the time of the Mugen Train arc, with Rengoku, Zenitsu, Inosuke, and Tanjiro. But this time, Tanjiro is stronger on his own, since he had to fight all those demons without Nezuko. In the original timeline, Nezuko had some clutch moments. Her best one in season 1 was probably during the fight with Rui. Basically, everything happens like in the original timeline, except Tanjiro is a little bit stronger, and Rengoku still dies to Akaza. Well, that was a nice quick little arc. Now we move on to the Entertainment District arc, with Inosuke, Zenitsu, Tanjiro, Tengen, and his wives. The only major change happens during Daki's fight with Tanjiro, when his eye starts bleeding. This time, Tanjiro gets the job done and manages to kill Daki. But then her brother, Gyutaro, emerges, and now they're in even bigger trouble. Gyutaro is way stronger, and even Tengen has a hard time fighting him. So the only possible way I can see Tanjiro surviving this is if Tengen arrives earlier, along with Inosuke and Zenitsu. Then the fight starts. Daki and Gyutaro versus Tengen, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu. So let's say we mix things up. Tanjiro unlocks his Demon Slayer mark earlier, not later in the fight. Then Tengen unlocks his own mark as well. With both of them powered up, the battle becomes much easier, and Tengen might not even lose his arm this time. Overall, everything goes much better than in the original timeline. They finally kill Daki and Gyutaro, and this time it's much easier. Tengen never loses his arm, but he's still close to death due to Gyutaro's poison. Instead of Obanai showing up, Shinobu arrives and gives him the antidote. Tengen survives and stays as a Hashira, which is good because they're going to need him. The new Upper Moon 6 is Nezuko. Now that we're finally done with the Entertainment District, we move on to the Swordsmith Village arc with Muichiro, Genya, and Mitsuri. Now, everything happens just like in the original timeline, and then we cut to the Hashira training arc. Everything happens the same, and Tengen is still a Hashira. Then we get to the part where the master dies, and they all get thrown into the Infinity Castle. Now, we're at the Infinity Castle arc, but here's the twist. The fights are going to be different. They're going up against different Upper Moon demons. Since Nezuko is now Upper Moon 6, the matchups have changed. Let's go over that real quick. So this time, Tanjiro isn't going to get revenge on Akaza. Let's start with Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo, facing off against Obanai, Gyomei, and Sanemi. I want to keep this one the same because it's my favorite matchup in the original series. Upper Moon 2, Doma, going up against Shinobu, Kanao, and Inosuke. Now let's do Upper Moon 3, Akaza, versus Muichiro and Tengen. Then we finally get to Upper Moon 6, Nezuko, and we're going to put Tanjiro Tanjiro and Giyu against her. Now let's get to the side battles. Kaigaku versus Zenitsu, then Yushiro and Mitsuri going up against Nakime. They're trying to take control of the Infinity Castle. My bad, guys. I almost forgot about Genya. Let's throw him in with Upper Moon 1. Now, let's go over all the battles. Upper Moon 1 is defeated by the 3 Hashira and Genya. Upper Moon 2 gets defeated. Just like in the original timeline, 3 is probably the hardest battle for the Hashira since Tanjiro is not there, but they managed to get the fight done and kill Akaza. Now let's get to the fight with Upper Moon 6 Nezuko. Tanjiro refuses to kill her because Nezuko is one of his last remaining family members. Giyu does most of the fighting because Tanjiro is in shock that Upper Moon 6 is his own sister. It's a long drawn-out fight between Giyu and Nezuko. Giyu keeps asking Tanjiro for help, and eventually Tanjiro snaps out of it and tries to get Nezuko to stop. Giyu gets blasted and badly hurt by one of Nezuko's attacks. Tanjiro grabs her, but then Nezuko pierces Tanjiro. Despite the pain, Tanjiro tries to reach her heart, begging her to come back. Finally, she snaps out of Muzan's control, looks at Tanjiro and says, "Tanjiro, is that you?" Muzan tries to regain control of Nezuko, but then she starts having flashbacks of her family. Their memories help her break free of Muzan's control completely, so Tanjiro and Giyu are both badly hurt by Nezuko. Nezuko starts crying and says, "How am I going to atone for all this time?" Tanjiro says, "It's fine, sister. You can help us defeat the Demon King." Tanjiro and Giyu start wrapping up their wounds, trying to stop the bleeding. Right now, Muzan is stuck in his spot and can't do anything with the Infinity Castle. Because Yushiro was controlling it, the castle had already been stopped and taken over. So Muzan kills Nakime in the Infinity Castle, which then begins to collapse. The demon controlling the Infinity Castle gets all the demon slayers out of there, and then we move into the final arc, the Sunrise Countdown arc. Now, since there's another Hashira, when they were all fighting Upper Moon 1, the only one who died in the Infinity Castle was Shinobu with Nezuko's help. All the demon slayers fight Muzan and win much faster than in the original timeline. After Muzan is defeated, Nezuko turns back into a human with the help of the humanization serum. Nezuko helped them fight Muzan, so not a lot of Hashira died. The only ones who lost their lives were Shinobu and Gyome. Shinobu died in the Infinity Castle, and Gyome died while fighting Muzan. After that, we see Mitsuri and Obanai's love story unfold. Then we get to see my boy, Muichiro, actually live a long life, probably until around 25, because he had the Demon Slayer mark. It's definitely better than the original timeline. What if Tanjiro had the potential of Yoriichi? I did multiple timelines for this, and this is the best one I could come up with. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Now let's get right into it. The only thing that's going to change at the start is that Tanjiro just shows signs of more potential, like chopping wood and stuff, but his family still dies. He's over there selling coal, not protecting his family. You guys have watched Demon Slayer before. You know how it goes. So the beginning is basically the same, except when he reaches the training with Sakonji. Now, when he's training with a sword, remember this is Tanjiro with Yoriichi's potential. So let's just go back to Yoriichi's backstory. So, he actually got cast out by his family. I'm not going too much into depth with this, but he picked up a sword for the first time, defeated a skilled samurai, and then created sun breathing, which is the most powerful first style in the entire series. So Sakonji Urokodaki starts training him, and he quickly becomes super skilled with a sword. Since this is Tanjiro with Yoriichi's potential, he's basically already a natural swordsman. Then he tried to teach him water breathing, but it wasn't helping Tanjiro at all because he didn't feel comfortable with it. So he started doing something he learned from his dad's dance. Now he's doing sun breathing. It doesn't matter as long as it's a breathing technique. Sakonji Urokodaki doesn't really care what you use. He just wants you to feel comfortable. You don't have to use water breathing. For example, when Mitsuri was training under Rengoku, the love Hashira, she tried to learn flame breathing, but it just didn't suit her. So that's why she created her own version called love breathing. Now, with Tanjiro having Yoriichi's potential, he's super strong, so he goes to the final selection and kills all the demons. Even that weird one with 20 hands and all that stuff, he kills them all super easily because he's basically like a mini Yoriichi. Then after that, he fights most of the other demons in season 1 and meets the Tanjiro trio, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu. He defeats all the demons in season 1 very easily, even that drum demon who used to be a lower moon. And now, let's get to the part where Tanjiro meets all the Hashira and what goes down with Sanemi. But anyway, we get to the Mugen Train arc, and now they all go on the train, fall asleep, and then wake up. Rengoku covers half the train with Zenitsu, while Inosuke and Tanjiro goes up to kill Lower Moon 1. They do it super quickly because Tanjiro is basically Yoriichi. Okay, I just looked it up. Yoriichi was Hashira level when he was around 6 to 8 years old, so Tanjiro is definitely Hashira level around this point too. It's said that Yoriichi was basically a bit above Hashira level, so Tanjiro is going to be a huge help against Upper Moon 3. With that, they might actually be able to beat him. Now, this is Tanjiro mixed with Yoriichi's potential, so he's still very powerful. I think we should give him the Demon Slayer Slayer mark in this fight since it's against an Upper Moon demon, and Akaza is one of the most powerful demons in the entire series. Rengoku notices how strong Tanjiro has become, and together they fight Upper Moon 3. Akaza starts getting flashbacks of Yoriichi because Tanjiro looks so much like him now, especially since Akaza has never faced someone using sun breathing. He's actually getting overwhelmed. In this timeline, I'm pretty sure they would either decapitate him or he'd die from sunlight. So Akaza is probably going to die in this scenario. Tanjiro finally cuts off Upper Moon 3's head, and now they're all sitting there calmly after the fight. But suddenly, Akaza starts charging at them, regenerating his head. Tanjiro barely dodges it and starts fighting alongside Rengoku. Now Akaza sees the sunlight coming and tries to escape into the woods just like in the original timeline, but this time, Rengoku and Tanjiro are too fast for him. They hold him down until the sunlight hits him, turning him to ash. And now, nobody is really hurt because Tanjiro is super strong. So in this timeline, no one's injured. Rengoku is alive and Upper Moon 3 is dead. But when Akaza's head was chopped off, Muzan was watching through his eyes. He sees Tanjiro, a boy who looks just like Yoriichi and is strong enough to defeat an Upper Moon 3 demon. And now, Tanjiro is on Muzan's radar. Go back to the demon slayers. Now they arrived at the corpse, just hide out. And they were talking to the other demon slayers in Rengoku, was telling them how it was to fight a Upper Moon and they can regenerate their heads. I know, the Entertainment District arc is next. Tanjiro is training even harder now and has gotten super strong. There's even talk about him becoming a Hashira since he killed Upper Moon 3 with Rengoku's help. Plus, you can tell he's as strong, maybe even stronger, than some of the Hashira. Okay, everything happens the same. But when Tanjiro faces Daki, now he's stronger with sun breathing. You remember when Tengen just nonchalantly sliced her head off? Well, that's what Tanjiro does this time. Then the real Upper 6 Gyutaro appears. Tanjiro holds his own against him and almost defeats him. Daki is mainly holding Gyutaro back from attacking Tanjiro, but then Tengen arrives, and together they quickly take Gyutaro down, defeating the Upper 6 for good. Well, in that fight, Tengen unlocks his Demon Slayer mark, and Tanjiro unlocks the Transparent World. They finish the fight pretty easily. Tengen doesn't lose his arm and remains active in the Demon Slayer core. When they all get back, Tengen tells the other Hashira that the Upper Moon 6 didn't regenerate, so maybe only the even higher ranked demons have that ability. Somehow, Tanjiro still chips his sword because he was caught off guard when the demon attacked them. They head to the Swordsmith Village arc, which goes similarly to the original timeline, but with some changes when the demons arrive. Now, Upper Moon 4, the demon with all the different personalities, gets absolutely destroyed by Tanjiro, Muichiro, Genya, and Nezuko. Upper Moon 4 gets flashes of Yoriichi's memories right before Tanjiro cuts off his head, and they absolutely destroy Upper Moon 4. Now, Mitsuri goes up against Upper Moon 5. The town gets less destroyed as Muichiro unlocks his Demon Slayer mark during the fight. They hear Mitsuri needing help against Upper Moon 5, so Tanjiro goes to assist her, and together they actually destroy Upper Moon 5. Now we get to the Hashira training arc. Tanjiro is already basically Hashira level, so he doesn't really need the training. Instead, he helps teach the others about unlocking the Demon Slayer mark and accessing the Transparent World. Everything at the end of the Hashira training arc happens just like in the original timeline. The leader dies, and everyone gets pulled into the Infinity Castle. The biggest change in this timeline is that Tanjiro is essentially Yoriichi in his prime. Because of that, he can now face any Upper Moon alone and win, something that was impossible in the original timeline. So at this point, the only real Upper Moons left are Upper 1 and Upper 2. The rest are just the fake Upper 6 and the fake Upper 4 demons. Now Tanjiro goes to face Upper Moon 2 with Muichiro and Genya, but because of Tanjiro's power, they end up absolutely destroying Upper Moon 2. In this timeline, Muichiro doesn't die. Then they go to fight Upper Moon 1, and this time, they actually defeat him. Tanjiro is basically like Yoriichi, and they also have around 20 other Hashira there to help. Now we reach the final arc with Muzan, and this time, he gets absolutely destroyed by Tanjiro and the other Demon Slayers. The Demon Slayer core is so strong now that most of them don't even need to unlock their Demon Slayer marks, so there's no reason to kill them off like in the original timeline. Tanjiro doesn't become a demon, and since he has Yoriichi's potential, he won't die from the Demon Slayer mark at 25. Instead, he lives a long life, possibly into his 80s or 90s. That means Shinobu is still alive, and most of the Hashira are too, so we get a true happy ending. My favorite part is that Muichiro is still alive in this timeline, because in the original timeline, he died when he was only 14. My second favorites are Mitsuri Kanroji and Obanai Iguro. Mitsuri and Obanai end up happily married and live out their years since they never got the Demon Slayer mark. Also, Gyomei is still alive in this timeline, so he doesn't die. I hope you guys really like this timeline where Tanjiro has Yoriichi's potential. Tanjiro got turned into a demon, so I created two different timelines. One where Tanjiro turns evil, and another where he stays good and travels with Nezuko. But I decided to go with evil Tanjiro, because let's be honest, it's darker, more intense, and way more entertaining. Let me know in the comments if you want me to drop the good Tanjiro version too. So, in this timeline, we have to make sure that Nezuko leaves the house, and Tanjiro is still in the house. So, let's just say that Tanjiro broke his leg or broke his arm while doing some activities, and so Nezuko has to go sell the coal, since she's one of the oldest. Nezuko doesn't return home, and Muzan arrives, injecting his blood into the Kamado family to see if any of them can survive and become demons. At first, he thinks none of them made it, but then Tanjiro starts turning into a demon. He senses that faint heartbeat, and Tanjiro begins rampaging, becoming a demon. After Tanjiro finally becomes a demon, Muzan asks him, "Where is the blue spider lily?" Tanjiro replies, "I don't know, Lord Muzan." Muzan then searches through all of Tanjiro's memories and catches a glimpse of the blue spider lily, something his mother once showed him. Muzan gets furious, realizing he was so close to finding it, but now he can't reach it because the flower only blooms in sunlight and only for 3 days a year. Now, while he's looking through Tanjiro's memories, he sees the Hinokami dance that his dad was doing and Tanjiro trying to learn it. He recognizes it as sun breathing, and Muzan would never forget that. After recognizing the Hinokami dance, Muzan realizes this is the family Yoriichi passed down his techniques to. He believes Tanjiro might be able to conquer the sun because of sun breathing. So he takes Tanjiro back to the Infinity Castle, begins training him, injects him with more blood, and feeds him more humans. But there's a problem. Tanjiro is naturally kind. He refuses to eat humans at first. Just like Akaza refuses to eat women due to his lingering human morals, Tanjiro still clings to pieces of his humanity. But Muzan doesn't care. He forces Tanjiro to consume humans and begins erasing most of his memories, because Tanjiro, at his core, is a kind soul. But Muzan is determined to turn him into a killer. Nezuko returns home to find her whole family massacred. Just then, Giyu appears and helps her escape the scene. Despite the tragedy and seeing no sign of Tanjiro anywhere, Nezuko still holds on to hope that he's alive somewhere out there. After burying her parents, Nezuko begins training with Urokodaki. After learning water breathing, Nezuko struggles when facing the same demons Tanjiro fought in the original timeline. Without a demon by her side, she misses some of the clutch moments that Tanjiro pulled off in Season 1. As a result, she has a harder time surviving. She might even be a bit weaker, not because she's a girl, but because she's fighting alone and carrying all the weight herself. Now, Nezuko meets Inosuke and Zenitsu. Zenitsu keeps chasing after her because he likes her, and Inosuke keeps getting her name wrong, which annoys her even more. But eventually, she and Inosuke team up to defeat the drum demon. Now let's get into the fight with Rui. Inosuke and Nezuko develop the same kind of chemistry that Tanjiro and Inosuke had in the original timeline, and together, they defeat all the demons leading up to Rui. But when Nezuko faces Rui, she struggles badly, pushed to the brink of death until he shows up. My emo boy Giyu shows up and nonchalantly slices Rui's head off like it was nothing, then saves Nezuko without breaking a sweat. And this time, Giyu and Shinobu don't get into that big fight, because there's no good demon now. We cut back to Tanjiro. Now we see Tanjiro as Upper Moon 6. He easily defeats Gyutaro and Daki. He's incredibly strong, able to regenerate in the blink of an eye. Now his blood demon art is really hard to figure out, because in the original timeline, when he briefly became a demon, we never actually saw it. So in this timeline, let's say it's similar to Nezuko's, but instead of pink flames, his are dark red. As Tanjiro continues to level up, he starts to regain some of his breathing techniques. So let's say Muzan gives him a sword, and now he can mix his demon powers with sun breathing. The result is even more powerful. Just like how Kokushibo uses moon breathing with his blood demon art, creating crescent-shaped slashes everywhere, Tanjiro's version creates actual flames swirling around his blade every time he uses a form. Now here's a secret a lot of people don't know, so if you don't want spoilers, skip ahead. The creator of Demon Slayer confirmed that the fire, water, and other elements you see with breathing techniques are just visual effects. They don't actually exist in the world of the story. Now we're at the end of Season 1. In the original timeline, Tanjiro met all the Hashira, but this time, it's Nezuko. She makes a much stronger impression by actually talking with them. Nezuko becomes a Tsuguko of the love Hashira Mitsuri. Mitsuri sees herself in Nezuko and takes her under her wing. Other Demon Slayer creators might give Nezuko sun breathing, but that's not how it works. Nezuko never did the dance. She doesn't know it. She only saw it once, so she wouldn't be able to use sun breathing. Now, instead of water breathing, I'd give Nezuko love breathing. First of all, it's just a really cool style to give her. And second, even though she can't use sun breathing, she could still use flame breathing, and love breathing is just a different form of that. Now let's go into the Mugen Train arc. In this version, Nezuko isn't part of it. She's off training with Mitsuri, so Rengoku is alone and ends up dying to Akaza, just like in the original timeline. timeline. Now, when Tanjiro joins the Upper Moon ranks, all the other Upper Moons are there to witness it. During the meeting, Gyoko, Upper Moon 5, claims he knows where the Swordsmith village is. So Muzan sends Gyoko, Upper Moon 5, and says, "Let's test your abilities now against real demon slayers." Then he turns to Tanjiro and commands him to go as well. Now they all show up at the Swordsmith village, but the only ones there are Mitsuri, Muichiro, Nezuko, and Genya. Nezuko doesn't have the demon slayer mark since she doesn't use sun breathing. Nezuko has only been training in love breathing for a couple of months now. Tanjiro is the first to show up because Upper Moon 5, Gyoko, sneaks in through his vases. In the original timeline, Mitsuri was kind of far from the village during the attack, but in this version, let's say she stayed an extra night. So when the battle begins, she's still there and ends up getting attacked by Upper Moon 6. Tanjiro rushes in at incredible speed using sun breathing. Muichiro reacts quickly and blocks the attack. Nezuko and Mitsuri go straight for his head, but Tanjiro dashes back and counters with a burst of flame. Mitsuri shouts, "Oh my god, Upper Moon 6?" Nezuko stands there in shock, staring at Tanjiro. She can't believe what she's seeing. Her own brother, now a demon. And not just any demon, an Upper Moon. Nezuko starts screaming at her brother, "Tanjiro, is that really you?" But Tanjiro says nothing, his memories mostly erased by Muzan. Without hesitation, he charges at Nezuko. Muichiro quickly steps in to block the attack, and the two begin to clash in a fierce battle. Tanjiro isn't even at full strength, but he's using sun breathing, catching both Muichiro and Mitsuri off guard. They're shocked that a demon can even use breathing techniques, let alone the most powerful one in the entire show. Both Hashira are struggling to keep up with Tanjiro. His rapid regeneration, overwhelming speed, and deadly breathing techniques. Nezuko stands frozen in shock on the battlefield, unable to believe what her brother has become. Nezuko can't even move. She's frozen in shock. Then Genya rushes in, throws her to the side, and says, "If you're not going to help, then get out of the way." Since Tanjiro isn't at full power yet, he's actually struggling against Muichiro and Mitsuri. Then Upper Moon 5 shows up. He starts helping Tanjiro in the fight. The entire Swordsmith village erupts into chaos as explosions go off everywhere. Two Upper Moon demons battle the two Hashira, and Genya is badly injured. Genya only surviving because he's eating demons. They tell Genya they can't win this fight and urge him to grab Nezuko and warn the other Hashira that the Swordsmith village has been attacked. Genya quickly grabs Nezuko, does a quick dash, and starts running back. They finally arrive at the Demon Slayer headquarters in the morning, where Genya collapses from exhaustion. Nezuko immediately tells all the Hashira what happened at the Swordsmith village. All the Hashira rush to the village in panic. When they arrive, they see the entire village blown to pieces, and both Hashira who were defending it are now dead. After that, Nezuko vows that the next time she sees Tanjiro, she will kill him for the greater good. And she begins a really intense training arc. The Hashira probably wouldn't train with her, since no one has awakened the Demon Slayer mark, so they wouldn't even think about training to get it if they don't know it exists. Nezuko trains even harder now, knowing that Mitsuri Kanroji is dead after the Swordsmith village attack. She pushes herself to the limit, with Shinobu backing her up. Nezuko talks to Shinobu about Tanjiro, knowing deep down that if he doesn't come back to his senses, she'll have to be the one to kill him. Now we cut back to Tanjiro, who arrives before Muzan and says, "We killed all the Demon Slayers at the Swordsmith village, and we destroyed everything, Lord Muzan." Muzan says good, but he already knows what Tanjiro is thinking. He wants to face more Hashira and get stronger for Muzan. Muzan nods and replies, "Very well. Then we'll start sending you after the remaining Hashira." Now we time skip. 6 months later. Nezuko is much stronger now, almost at Hashira level. There have been a lot more demon attacks lately, and she keeps hearing rumors about a red demon with a red sword going around, killing people and eating them. Deep down, she knows it's her brother. The Demon Slayer Corps finally gets a lead on where another Upper Moon is. This time, they don't repeat the mistake they made with Rengoku fighting Akaza alone. They've learned from the past, so instead of sending just one Hashira, they send multiple. Leading the mission are Shinobu and Sanemi. Their target? The Upper 6 demon, Tanjiro. They know his location. Nezuko and Kanao also join the mission, determined to put an end to his rampage. Tanjiro, using his sun breathing, slashes through the store incredibly fast, moving like a blazing fire. Sanemi launches a counterattack, and the two begin clashing fiercely. Meanwhile, Shinobu darts in and out with her poison, looking for an opening. Nezuko, now incredibly fast and nearly Hashira level, keeps up with the fight. She keeps trying to talk Tanjiro back to his senses, but nothing is getting through. Backed into a corner, with the sun rising fast, Tanjiro starts to panic. He tries to get away from the sunlight, but Sanemi and Shinobu block his escape. Nezuko runs toward him, screaming, pleading, "Tanjiro, please come back. You're still in there. I know you are." The sunlight pours over him. They all watch, expecting him to burn alive. His skin starts to smoke. His body shakes. He drops to one knee, groaning in agony. But then it stops. The burning stops. Everyone stares in shock as Tanjiro slowly rises, still in demon form, but completely unaffected by the sun dot. In that silver moment, as Tanjiro fights against the burning sunlight, memories flood back. He remembers Nezuko, his sister, the bond they share. Suddenly, Nezuko runs to him and wraps her arms around him tightly. Her warmth breaks through the darkness inside him. That embrace snaps Tanjiro out of Muzan's control. Tanjiro looks around, confused, and says, "What's happening? Nezuko, are you alright? What's been going on all this time? Mom and Dad, what happened?" Nezuko explains, "There was a demon attack at our house." Tanjiro feels strange, overwhelmed. Why do I feel so powerful? Suddenly, memories flood back. His time as a demon, the battles he fought, the people he killed. Tanjiro kneels down, tears streaming, and whispers, "How am I going to atone for all of this?" Nezuko kneels beside him and says, "It's going to be okay, brother." They bring Tanjiro back to the group, but the Hashira are not happy to see a demon. The Hashira respect the master's word and follow his orders, but none of them like Tanjiro. Even though he's a demon who can withstand sunlight, their trust in him is fragile at best. Now Nezuko finally has her brother back, and they start training together. Tanjiro uses his sun breathing for good this time, aiming to kill every single demon. But Muzan realizes he's lost control over Tanjiro when he survived the sunlight. He knows Tanjiro broke free. Now, Tanjiro can even evade the sun's deadly rays. Muzan, furious and worried, tells the upper moons, "The thing I want is to capture Tanjiro." Now we get to the part where Kagaya Ubuyashiki sacrifices himself to give the demon slayers a fighting chance against Muzan. His selfless act inspires the entire demon slayer corps to unite and push forward, using every ounce of their strength and skill to take down Muzan once and for all. And now they all fall, including Tanjiro. Even though Tanjiro has become one of the strongest demons, the fight is still brutal. This time, Upper Moons 5 and 4 are still alive, making the battle even tougher. On the Hashira side, Mitsuri and Muichiro are already dead, and Rengoku is gone too. But this time, Tengen is still alive to fight alongside the remaining Hashira. Now Tanjiro and Nezuko get dropped into the battle, immediately facing off against akaza. Let's go over which Hashira are fighting which Upper Moon in this intense showdown. Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo, will be fighting Gyome Himejima, Obanai Iguro, and Genya. Upper Moon 2 will be fighting Shinobu Kocho, Inosuke Hashibira, and Kanao Tsuyuri. Now Upper Moon 5 and Upper Moon 4 will be fighting Giyu Tomioka and Tengen Uzui. These two have the hardest challenge because they're each facing one Upper Moon demons by themselves. Their main goal is to hold out until more demon slayers arrive, and fortunately, they have more strength and strategy on their side. But remember, they also have the support of the underling demon slayers to help them hold their ground. And then we have all the side battles, including Zenitsu versus Kaigaku, the new Upper Moon, 6. Since Mitsuri is dead and Obanai is fighting Upper Moon 1, that leaves only Yushiro to face the battle alone and try to take control of the Infinity Castle. I think she would succeed, but it would be much harder this time, because instead of having the Hashira's support, he only has the underlings of the Demon Slayer Corps. Tanjiro and Nezuko make quick work of akaza, then rush to help Giyu and Tengen, who are fighting Upper Moon 4 and Upper Moon 5. Meanwhile, Upper Moon 1, Kokushibo, is battling Gyome, Genya, and Obanai, who are fighting even harder than in the original timeline, since they don't have Muichiro's support. And somehow, all of them manage to defeat the Upper Moons. As for Upper Moon 2, the same fate unfolds as in the original timeline. Shinobu dies, and Doma succumbs to her poison. Now, the Hashira have all awakened the Demon Slayer mark, since Tanjiro has it, and is fighting all the Upper Moons using sun breathing. The rest of the Hashira have also gained the mark. They're all using it to fight against Muzan in the final Sunrise Countdown arc in this timeline. The only ones who die in the Infinity Castle are Shinobu and Genya. Defeating Muzan is much easier because Tanjiro is now a demon. He can regenerate limbs and heal quickly. This allows them to fight longer and safely reach the sunrise, where Muzan ultimately dies. In this timeline, Tanjiro never fully becomes a demon because he resists Muzan's control. Instead, they keep him stabilized with the human serum from Tamayo, and eventually, he turns back into a human. Now, after Muzan dies, Obanai dies during the final battle, and those who survive still die before 25 because of the Demon Slayer mark. So basically, the story ends much like the original, only this time, Tanjiro was a demon. I hope you guys enjoyed this. What if Tanjiro was raised by Yoriichi? So let's get right into this. To understand how this alternate timeline begins, we first need to go over Yoriichi Tsugikuni's backstory. Yoriichi was born during the Sengoku era, the golden age of demon slayers. From birth, he was marked by the Demon Slayer mark, dark and possessed godlike talent. Unlike his twin brother Michikatsu, who later became Kokushibo, Yoriichi was humble, kind, and quiet. He created the original sun breathing technique, the foundation for all other breathing styles. Yoriichi was so powerful that even Muzan Kibutsuji, the Demon King himself, barely escaped with his life after their battle. No one else in history came closer to killing Muzan. But despite his strength, Yoriichi lived a tragic life. He lost his wife and unborn child to demons, was exiled by the Demon Slayer Corps, and even failed to stop his own brother from falling to darkness. He died alone, but undefeated. Now that we've covered Yoriichi's backstory, let's move on to how Tanjiro comes into play. Sumiyoshi was a kind-hearted man who lived during the Sengoku era. He befriended Yoriichi after Yoriichi left the Demon Slayer Corps. Sumiyoshi deeply admired Yoriichi and was the one who preserved the Hinokami Kagura, a dance based on sun breathing, by passing it down through his family for generations. Let's just say the baby that Sumiyoshi was holding while talking to Yoriichi was Tanjiro Kamado. Then, one fateful day, the Kamado family is attacked by demons. By the time Yoriichi returns, it's nearly too late. He manages to save what little he can, but not enough. Cradling his dear friend Sumiyoshi in his arms, Yoriichi watches him take his final breath. The only one left alive is a young Tanjiro Kamado. Yoriichi realizes that he can't just leave Tanjiro there. So young Tanjiro and Yoriichi travel together. In just a few days, Tanjiro witnesses countless demons being slain by Yoriichi right before his eyes. Then, Yoriichi begins teaching Tanjiro a breathing technique. At first, Yoriichi isn't even sure if Tanjiro can use sun breathing, so he tries training him in different breathing styles, but none of them seem to suit him. But Yoriichi gives it a try anyway, knowing that not everyone can use sun breathing. Still, he decides to test it with Tanjiro, and to his surprise, Tanjiro actually feels more in sync with it than any other style. Then, Tanjiro receives his Nichiren blade, and his sword turns black, just like Yoriichi's once did. Yoriichi sees this as a sign of potential, and believes Tanjiro may truly be capable of mastering sun breathing. Let's time skip. 14 years later, Tanjiro is now 15 years old. He can use sun breathing to its fullest potential. His sense of smell is even sharper than in the original timeline, and at this point, he's probably above Hashira level. Let's just say Yoriichi dies of old age, and Muzan and Kokushibo learn of his death. By then, Tanjiro is around 17 years old. He sets out on his own and joins the Demon Slayer Corps. Now Tanjiro instantly becomes a Hashira because he's absolutely the strongest. He has the transparent world, the flawless state, the Demon Slayer mark, a red Nichiren blade, and he uses one of the most powerful breathing styles in the show. After Yoriichi's death, Muzan and Kokushibo decide to wipe out all the Demon Slayers at once. Let's say that all the Hashira from the original timeline remain Hashira now, and all the upper moons from the original timeline are still the upper moons. In fact, most of the upper moons were already alive back then. Kokushibo and Muzan launch a brutal attack on the Demon Slayers. Real quick, guys, I don't want to be annoying, but if you want early access to my videos and shorts, the first 2 people who join get to pick what video I make next. I'm only doing this for about 24 hours after the video goes up. You can join my channel down below. Now Muzan attacks, pulling every single Demon Slayer into the Infinity Castle. Now all 6 upper moons are still alive, but we've still got all the Hashira, so let's get into this fight. Now let's go over which upper moon and which Hashira are going to face each other. Daki and Gyutaro versus Tengen Uzui and Kyojuro Rengoku. Gyoko versus Muichiro Tokito Hantengu versus Obanai Iguro and Mitsuri Kanroji. Akaza versus Tanjiro Kamado. Doma versus Shinobu Kocho Kanao Tsuyuri and Inosuke Hashibira. Kokushibo versus Gyome Himejima Sanemi Shinazugawa, Giyu Tomioka, and Genya Shinazugawa. Now let's get into all the side battles. Zenitsu versus Kaigaku. Nakime versus Yushiro. Now let's get into detail of the fights Daki and Gyutaro versus Tengen Uzui and Kyojuro Rengoku. This should be a pretty easy battle. Tengen doesn't get poisoned easily, and Rengoku is strong enough to take down Daki without much trouble. Gyoko versus Muichiro Tokito. He defeated him just like he did in the original series. Hantengu versus Obanai Iguro and Mitsuri Kanroji. This one should be pretty fun. I'd say Obanai holds out until Mitsuri finds the demon and cuts off its head. Akaza versus Tanjiro Kamado. Now, this fight is going to be way too easy for Tanjiro. Akaza goes all out from the start, but Tanjiro is just too strong. He's mastered sun breathing, unlocked the flawless state, and sees through everything with the transparent world. There's no doubt Tanjiro wins this, and he doesn't even break a sweat. Doma versus Shinobu Kocho, Kanao Tsuyuri, and Inosuke Hashibira. Now, just like in the original timeline, Doma kills Shinobu Doma, then dies from Shinobu's poison. Kokushibo versus Gyome Himejima Sanemi, Shinazugawa Giyu Tomioka, and Genya Shinazugawa. This fight should be much easier for them, since Giyu is stronger than Muichiro Tokito, so he'll be a huge help. Tanjiro would finish his fight quickly because he's super strong, and he goes help with Upper Moon 1. There's no way Kokushibo could defeat all of them. Giyu, Gyome, Sanemi, Genya, and Tanjiro. Now we get to the Sundown Countdown arc, starting right after the Infinity Castle. This time, Muzan dies very quickly. Tanjiro, much like Yoriichi, can kill him with ease. Muzan is split into 1,700 pieces, and with all the Hashira backing Tanjiro, the fight is pretty easy. I've always wanted to give Demon Slayer a happier ending, because how it ended in the original timeline was pretty sad. So, in this version, Mitsuri and Obanai's love story plays out fully. They live a happy life together. Muichiro lives on even longer, and most of the Hashira survive. Rengoku survives, and Tengen doesn't lose his arm. What if Rengoku didn't just go down that day? What if he unlocked the power of the Demon Slayer mark right before Akaza's final blow? This would change everything. In this video, I explored what would happen if Rengoku awakened his Demon Slayer mark, and how that one change could reshape the entire story. I looked into multiple versions and outcomes, and this timeline right here is the one that made the most sense, and delivered the most impact. So the only way that Rengoku can get his Demon Slayer mark is when Tanjiro has his Demon Slayer mark, so let's just say he unlocks it fighting Lower 1 Enmu. So during Rengoku's intense battle with Akaza, right at that critical moment, with Tanjiro watching helplessly from the ground, Rengoku would awaken his Demon Slayer mark. The conditions were all there: the life or death struggle, the burning resolve, and the will to protect others, and that could have changed everything. The battle between Rengoku and Akaza rages on, but now everything has changed. With the Demon Slayer mark awakened, Rengoku begins pushing Akaza back, matching his speed and power like never before. For the first time, Akaza realizes he's in real danger and starts fighting seriously. He unleashes his full strength, landing brutal blows, and the fight turns into a vicious clash of pure will and raw power. Akaza and Rengoku are now trading blow for blow, a brutal, high-speed clash between two titans. Rengoku holds his ground, his Demon Slayer mark giving him the edge he never had before. But then, he notices the first rays of sunlight breaking over the horizon. Akaza sees it too. In a flash, he panics, dashing into the shadows of the nearby woods to escape the deadly sunlight. Rengoku, battered but determined, gives chase, but it's too late. Akaza is gone, slipping back into the forest, wounded and shaken. This time, Rengoku survived, and Akaza retreated, knowing he was only moments away from defeat. This time, they all make it out alive. Rengoku is critically injured, barely standing, but he's alive. The scars run deep, but his spirit is unbroken. Over the next few months as he recovers, Rengoku shares everything he learned about awakening the Demon Slayer mark with the other Hashira. Driven by his near-death experience, Rengoku begins intense training, determined to master his new power and prepare for the battles ahead. His survival sparks a new wave of hope within the Demon Slayer Corps. The war against Muzan just gained a powerful turning point. Everything has changed. With Rengoku alive and training the Hashira, the Demon Slayer Corps is stronger than ever. So when Tanjiro, Tengen, and the others face off against Upper Rank 6, Gyutaro and Daki, they aren't the same fighters they once were. Tanjiro has already awakened his Demon Slayer mark, and in the heat of this deadly battle, something incredible happens. Tengen Uzui awakens his mark too. His strength, speed, and reflexes skyrocket, allowing him to keep up with Gyutaro in a way he couldn't before. With both Tanjiro and Tengen powered up, and the whole team fighting with better coordination and experience, the battle ends quicker, and with fewer injuries. Tengen doesn't lose his arm. He survives as a Hashira, and Upper Rank 6 falls, even faster than in the original timeline. Even with all the changes, some events remain the same. Tanjiro still chips his sword, and travels to the swordsmith village to have it reforged. And just like in the original timeline, he joins Mitsuri, the Love Hashira, and Muichiro, the Mist Hashira, in defending the village. But this time, they're stronger, more prepared. Rengoku's survival has led to months of new training and shared knowledge about the Demon Slayer mark, and now it shows. Muichiro still awakens his Demon Slayer mark during his solo fight, becoming faster and deadlier. Mitsuri, too, reaches her full potential when the village is at risk, unlocking her mark in a burst of emotion and strength. The upper rank demons are still deadly, and the battle is fierce, but with these enhanced warriors and Tanjiro's experience, the Demon Slayers push through faster and with fewer casualties. The Swordsmith village is saved, and the Demon Slayer Corps grows more confident than ever. This sets the stage for a much tougher training arc. With Rengoku back and actively training the Hashira, the Demon Slayer Corps pushes harder than ever to unlock their Demon Slayer marks. Everyone is striving to reach that next level of power, but only those who have already awakened their marks, like Tanjiro and Rengoku, truly manage to harness it fully. The others keep pushing, training harder and harder, but the Demon Slayer mark remains just out of reach for most. This struggle adds a new layer of tension and growth as they prepare for the battles ahead. At the end of this intense training arc, everything unfolds as in the original story. The leader falls, and the Demon Slayer Corps rallies to take down Muzan once and for all. But this time, with Rengoku alive and stronger than ever, the stakes are different. When they enter the Infinity Castle, the Hashira and Tanjiro face the same deadly traps and powerful upper moons. But now, they have an extra pillar of strength. Rengoku's presence shifts the balance, giving the Demon Slayers a fighting chance they didn't have before. The battle for humanity's survival takes on a whole new intensity. Rengoku fights alongside Muichiro Tokito, Mist Hashira, Genya Shinazugawa, Sanemi Shinazugawa, Wind Hashira, and Gyome Himejima, Stone Hashira, against upper rank 1, Kokushibo. This powerhouse team combines their strengths: Rengoku's fiery Demon Slayer mark-enhanced power, Muichiro's swift mist techniques, Genya's unique demon-slaying abilities, Sanemi's fierce wind-breathing, and Gyome's overwhelming stone-breathing, making the battle even more intense and challenging for Kokushibo. Their teamwork and combined power could potentially push Kokushibo harder than in the original timeline. The other battles remain true to the original timeline. For example, Upper Rank 3, Akaza, is primarily fought by Tanjiro and Giyu. When the final battle against Muzan begins, I believe many of the Hashira would still lose their lives, including Rengoku. Even with his Demon Slayer mark, Rengoku is the type of warrior who always puts others first. He'd protect those around him without hesitation, even if it meant sacrificing himself. His death in this timeline would be just as heroic, but even more impactful. What if 2 Hashiras was sent to the Mugen Train in Demon Slayer? When it comes to which Hashira should have been sent to the Mugen Train, Rengoku is the obvious choice. But if we're adding a second, Gyome is the only real option. No other Hashira, even teaming up with Rengoku, could defeat Akaza. Only the Stone Hashira stands a chance. The Tanjiro trio, Rengoku and Gyome, board the train and are immediately put into the dream. While Rengoku does what he did in the original timeline, choking one, Tanjiro breaks free from the dream and wakes everyone up. Gyome and Zenitsu protect the whole train, while Rengoku, Tanjiro, and Inosuke work together to fight the Lower Moon One on the train. Their combined strength easily overpowers the demon. After they defeat the Lower Moon One, the train flips over and everyone manages to get out safely. Then, Gyome and Rengoku begin their battle against Akaza. Akaza notices their strength immediately. He can see people's power just by looking at them. He goes all out, fighting seriously, while Gyome holds him back, trying to block his deadly attacks. Meanwhile, Rengoku launches a series of fierce and deadly attacks aimed straight at Akaza. Akaza was losing badly, but then he saw the sunlight approaching. Trying to escape, he made a run for it, but Gyome stopped him. Meanwhile, Rengoku held him down until the sunlight hit, causing Akaza to burn and finally turn to ash. Muzan immediately knows that Akaza is dead. Furious, he returns to his Infinity Castle and calls a meeting with all the Upper Moons. They're all shocked to learn that Upper Moon 3, one of their strongest, has been killed. Cut back to the Demon Slayers, turn with barely any injuries, except for Tanjiro, who got stabbed. Despite that, Tanjiro gets right back to work afterward. Now that Rengoku is still alive, the Demon Slayer Corps has an extra pillar compared to the original timeline. Then the Entertainment District arc begins, and the Demon Slayer Corps suspects an Upper Moon is hiding there. But this time, Rengoku goes with them. Now, the Entertainment District arc moves much faster because Tengen, Rengoku, and Tanjiro trio. Tengen takes on Gyutaro since he can withstand the poison longer, while Rengoku fights Daki. The Tanjiro trio stays back during the fight, not getting in the way but still offering support when needed. The fight ends pretty easily, with Nezuko healing Tengen's poison. Together, they basically destroy Upper Moon 6. Tengen remains a Hashira and recovers without losing his arm. Now Muzan is furious and comes up with a plan. Since he knows where the Swordsmith village is, he sends Upper Moon 2 with them. Rengoku grips his sword tightly and decides to go to the Swordsmith village alongside Tanjiro. Now with Rengoku, Mitsuri, and Muichiro. Everything happens just like the original timeline. When the demons attack, Tanjiro and Muichiro team up to fight Upper Moon 5. Tanjiro and Muichiro finish off Upper Moon 5 after both unlocking their Demon Slayer marks. With their combined power, the fight ends quickly, allowing them to rush to help the other Demon Slayers. Mitsuri, Genya, and Rengoku are trying to hold back Upper Moon 2 and Upper Moon 4, but they're being overwhelmed and starting to lose. Just when things are looking bad, Tanjiro and Muichiro join the fight. With their arrival, the battle turns. Rengoku awakens his Demon Slayer mark, and Mitsuri unlocks hers soon after. Now with 4 powerful Demon Slayers, each with a mark, they begin overpowering the 2 Upper Moons. Together, they finish the job and bring the demons down. They manage to finish the fight, but Rengoku is left in critical condition. Mitsuri is badly injured, injured, and Genya is barely standing. The three of them had taken the brunt of the early battle and pushed themselves to the limit. After the fight, all three are taken away to recover. Now the final training arc begins. With Rengoku still alive and most of the Hashira already having awakened their Demon Slayer marks, they all work together to push the others to unlock theirs as well. Everything plays out just like the original timeline, except this time, Rengoku is now with them. After the training is complete, Muzan launches his attack on the Ubuyashiki family, just like in the original timeline. The leader still dies, and Muzan sends everyone to the Infinity Castle. But this time, most of the Hashira have awakened their Demon Slayer marks, and Rengoku and Tengen are both alive and ready to fight. Just like the original timeline, Tanjiro and Giyu team up to fight Upper Moon. Meanwhile, Tengen takes on Upper Moon 2 alongside Shinobu, Inosuke, and Kanao. Doma eats Shinobu, but she still dies. It was always part of her plan, using her poison as the only way to kill him. Now, Upper Moon 1 faces off against Rengoku, Gyome, Sanemi, Genya, and Muichiro. In this alternate timeline, Muichiro survives. Now all four of the Hashira, Rengoku, Gyome, Sanemi, and Muichiro, team up against Upper Moon 1 and kill him much faster than in the original timeline. Though all of them are badly hurt, they prepare to face Muzan next. Now, with most of them still alive and much less injured, all the Demon Slayers, with their Demon Slayer marks, come together to fight Muzan. They're stronger than ever, ready to take on the final battle. In the battle against Muzan, almost all the Hashira survive except for Gyome and Rengoku. Those two are the only ones who don't make it through. Rengoku is the main Hashira who protects everyone during the battle, and Gyome also has the Demon Slayer mark since he's over 25. In this timeline, all the Hashira who have awakened the Demon Slayer mark die by age 25. That's the condition tied to the mark. But at least this timeline has a happier ending. Even with the Demon Slayer mark's cost, more Hashira survive, and in this timeline, my boy Muichiro, who was only 14 when he died in the original story, survives and lives for at least 10 more years, finally getting to experience a full and happy life. And in this timeline, one of the best couples in Demon Slayer, Mitsuri Kanroji and Obanaya Guro, actually survive and get to be happy together. Hey everyone, I've put a ton of research into this ultimate Demon Slayer timeline, and I'm working hard to make the best videos for you all. If you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Also, drop a comment telling me what you want to see next. I'm ready to dive into whatever you're excited about.